Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be talking about gluten sensitivity and why I am going to be adhering to a strict gluten-free lifestyle. And if you would like to hear about that, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. So my name is Jordan Sparks. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So I didn't think this was going to be a video that I was going to be filming, but I'm a giant nerd and talking about stuff like this is fascinating to me, and this is the kind of thing that I like to research and read about on my own free time that I never really film about, so I decided I was going to film about it today. And also, disclaimer, I am not by any means any kind of doctor, so this is just from my own personal research and my own personal experience. But basically, I'm going to be going on a strict gluten-free diet. I've never really done this in terms of something that I had to do. I've always done it just as something to do. But basically, I have a giant breakout on my back right now, and I am 99% certain that it is from eating gluten. So I am going to go on a gluten-free diet. So basically, if you're wondering what gluten is, it's like a group of proteins that's found in cereal grains. And basically, gluten is like, it's what makes the bread dough stretchy, it's what gives it that elasticity, and like it gives bread and wheat-like products its chewiness, basically. So gluten is something that in and itself is not bad or unhealthy, but for some people, if you have celiac disease, it causes you to have like an immune response that is kind of like an allergic reaction kind of thing. And that is very, very bad for you and can cause you to go into, yes, an immune response, which could cause you to die. So it is not something that you want to be eating if you have celiac disease. And then there is a whole different spectrum of gluten sensitivity. Now, the only reason why I ever started to get fascinated with this idea is because my mom actually was dealing with IBS when I was growing up, and so she talked to her doctor and she decided to go wheat-free and gluten-free diet, and she's been eating like that for probably 10 years now, I would say. And with all of that being said, I watched how she made this lifestyle change and how it affected her, how she became more healthy and alert, and so that's how I became curious about it, and myself wasn't thinking that I had a gluten intolerance, but I just decided, oh, maybe I'll try this out as well, because I've always felt sick when eating like an abundance of products that had gluten in it, and now that I knew what gluten was, I was aware of which things were making me not feel so good. So I started to eat less and less gluten and stuff like that over the years, and there's times in my life where I've been like mostly gluten-free. But because of this giant breakout on my back and doing my research, I found that what this breakout is, and it has happened more than once, is actually a reaction called dermatitis herpetiformis. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and I'm going to do a separate video entirely about that if you guys are interested. But basically, this is a skin condition that is kind of a warning sign that you may have celiac disease. And so this is kind of something that is super serious, but if you are somebody that has celiac disease, or you know somebody that has celiac disease, it's not something that necessarily is going to affect you just the first time you ever eat something with gluten. You're just going to end up in the hospital. It might be that you are eating gluten products your entire life, and then one day it just affects you profoundly, and you end up going into like an anaphylactic shock, and you end up going to the hospital. And then you might get diagnosed with celiac disease. So basically, I had this problem pop up for the first time 4 years ago. It was in the summer, and I just got home from a hike with my friends, and I thought that I had like a heat rash, and it was all over my shoulders, and I was like, what the heck, or maybe it was a poison ivy or something like that. So I did all of this research, and I went to the doctor, and I thought that it was, a poison ivy. I was putting like lotion on it and stuff, but it was actually a skin rash from the gluten, but the doctor had no idea at this point either. Oh, hello, kitten. A cat came to see me. Anyways, and so the doctor didn't know at this point, and I had talked to my doctor about possible gluten sensitivity, and basically at the turn of a dime they were just like, oh well, why don't you try excluding it from your diet and see if you feel better. Like, they were not up to do tests or anything. It's kind of like we have bigger fish to fry, more important things to deal with. So the doctor's recommendation was just to cut gluten out of my life and see how I felt. And so I did that, and I felt better for the most part, but I didn't really stick to it 100%. And I know that this problem on my back, which I will show you a clip of in a minute, was definitely because of gluten, because I started eating a lot more bread products because of where I'm working right now, and I just started eating like a whole bunch of bagels and pastries and all of these things that I hadn't eaten in a really long time because I just got used to completely cutting that out of my diet. And then all of a sudden my entire back broke out, and it broke out literally within a 24-hour period. It was kind of like when I went on this hike a few years ago and my entire back broke out, and I associated it with the hike, but it was actually my diet. And so the most important thing I wanted to be as a takeaway from this video is that your skin and what happens with your skin and skin-related illnesses and stuff like that have a lot to do with what you put into your body, not just what goes on your body. So a lot of the time when it comes to acne and stuff, people are focused on looking for the right cleanser and looking for all of like the right products to use on their face to avoid getting acne and stuff, when it could really be caused by something that your body is reacting to that you are eating. So that is something that I thought was interesting and I wanted to share. But yeah, basically this breakout all over my back. I've never suffered from acne. If you guys have followed me, you would know I've never really even had a breakout. Sometimes I'll have like one pimple. That's just something I've been blessed with. Thank God for having good skin, I guess. That's just something that I didn't have to deal with. So that's something that I'm grateful for, but I've never had like a breakout on my back of like pimples or anything. And what's on my back is like, looks like pimples, but there's no whitehead or anything. It's literally just like similar looking to a pimple, but it's more like a hive. And so yes, when I did all of my research into what dermatitis herpetiformis is, it is just a skin condition that is caused by gluten, and you might be familiar with eczema. Eczema can be caused by eating too much gluten as well, and so that is just something that I wanted to talk about. If you are having like skin conditions similar to this, maybe that's something that you might want to look into. Or if you feel sick all the time when you eat gluten and bread products, you might be somewhere on the gluten sensitivity line. And if you go to your doctor, they might not want to write or run tests or do anything specific about it as well. So your doctor might just recommend that you try reducing it out of your diet or eliminating it out of your diet and see how you feel. And that is the best way to see if you are gluten sensitive or not. The biggest thing to keep in mind is if you are getting your main source of fiber from grain and cereal products, like wheat, barley, rye, stuff like that, then you might want to consider implementing a lot more fiber into your diet so that you don't lose the fiber in your diet by eating lots of fruits and vegetables, and maybe like oats that are gluten-free rice, stuff like that, just to make sure that you're still getting all of the fiber, because a lot of the time if you go gluten-free entirely and you don't replace all of what you were eating with something that is also full of fiber, then you are going to be deficient. So I think that is for the most part what I wanted to talk about. I will show you a clip of my back and what it looks like and the breakout that I'm having, and I'm going to do a follow-up for this video. I'm going to gradually, I think, stop eating gluten. I'm going to try and stop eating it cold turkey, but if you are somebody that eats a lot of bread and grain and products like that, it's kind of hard to do cold turkey. But yeah, I'm going to stop eating bread, stop eating anything that has flour, stop eating anything that has gluten in it, and I'm going to try and stick to this 100%, and we're going to see if my back clears up and everything is fine from that. And like I said, if you found this video interesting, give it a thumbs up. If you would like to hear more about what dermatitis herpetiformis is, then let me know in the comments below. And if you want me to just do an entire video that is like all about gluten, what gluten is, what kind of foods it is found in, what foods you might want to avoid if you're trying to adhere to a gluten-free lifestyle, and some foods that are healthy and high in fiber that you can replace it with, I could make a video all about that as well. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I am just a nerd. So this kind of information is fascinating to me, and because it's something that I go through personally, that I feel like I have a lot of knowledge that I can share about it because I've been studying this topic for like 10 years. But that is it for this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to join the Sparkly family. And as always, please make sure to be weird, be wild, and stay sparkly. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Okay, bye guys.